When I was 7 years old, my dad sat me down and he said, Pete, if you'll listen to me, you might be able to get a scholarship in basketball because we can't pay your way. And maybe you not only get a scholarship, but maybe you'll go to the pro level and you'll play on a team that wins a world championship. And you'll make $1 million playing basketball. And they'll give you a big diamond ring and it'll have your name on it and say world champions. And to a 7-year-old, my eyes lit up. And I said, Dad, that's what I want. He said, if you'll let me teach you, you just commit. You dedicate your life to basketball, and that's all you have to do. And you'll live happily the rest of your lives. Largest contract in the history of sports in 1970. I went to my dad. I said, Dad, I hope you're proud, because my dad was always my hero. I said, I've got it. I've signed $1 million contract. I've made it to the pros. Now all I got left is the ring. And when I get the ring, I'll be able to sit by the pool, twinkle my toes in the water, and sit back with my drink and live happily ever after. That's what I thought. In 1980, I quit basketball. I was despondent. 2 years, I divorced myself from basketball, stayed in the house, used to contemplate suicide, taking my Porsche out, driving 140 miles an hour across the bridge and going off. I'm glad I never did that. But in 1982, I went to bed one night. It was late night, and I was watching television. It was like any other night, and I just went to bed. And as I laid in the bed, things started coming up in my mind, and I could not sleep. It was sin that came, and it would not leave me alone. Everything I'd ever done, all my rebellion against God, all my rebellion against my parents, the people I loved, the people I hated. I hated people. I had bitterness against people. It was driving me crazy. I couldn't get it out of my mind. I remember crying out in my spirit. I said, oh, God, you're going to have to save me. I remember at that point, with tears in my eyes, the Lord spoke to me. He said, be strong and lift thine own heart. I'll never forget it. I'll never deny it. It reverberated through my room. I was in shock. I sat up in my bed. I was not asleep. I woke my wife up. She was in a deep sleep. I said, Jackie, did you hear that? Did you hear what God said to me? Well, Jackie just didn't hear. She said, I didn't hear anything, Pete. But I remember rolling off the bed. And I remember I said, God, I know you're there. And I want my life to change. Since that day, my life has changed so dramatically. It's been almost 4.5 years. And I want you to know this, that the change that came into my life was Jesus Christ. It was not winning. I won all my life. I won every trophy and award and everything you can think of. But every time I won something, I wanted something more. I had to win again. It wasn't money, because money will buy you everything but happiness. It'll pay your fare to every place but heaven. Material things, I've driven everything some of you strive for, from Rolls Royces to BMWs to Mercedes to Porsches. Next week, I'll be inducted into the Hall of Fame. I'll get that big ring. In fact, it's a bigger ring than I would have got for the championship. But I'll tell you something about all awards. They all pale to the glory of Christ and what he's done in my life. I wouldn't trade my position in Christ for 1,000 NBA championships, for 1,000 Hall of Fame rings, or for $100 billion. There's nothing like the joy of Jesus Christ in your life.